So I'd like to call this meeting of the Whately Select Board to order, 4 o'clock on August 13th. The first item on the, excuse me, first item on the agenda is to vote on the meeting minutes from the previous meeting.
No
Any
comments.
comments?
No comments.
Okay,
I will second.
okay. It's been moved and seconded. Let's do the roll call vote. Let's start with Julie this time. Julie,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Joyce, yes. Okay. Any discussion or comments on the vendor and payroll warrants?
No, none.
Okay. All right. Now we're on to public comment. This is, of course, time for members of the public to comment on things that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody there in the room? I see one man in the room, but maybe he's there for something on the agenda?
Yeah.
Something on the agenda.
Yeah, actually, you see two people. They're just on opposite sides of the screen.
It's like Pano, so like.
Yeah. Okay. And I see Judy. I imagine Judy's on here for something that's on the agenda. Okay. Then let's move on to old business. One personnel item to review, discuss, and vote on the recommendation of an appointment of a town accountant. And are we ready to do that today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Maybe Pete can tell us a little bit about who we're appointing.
Sure. Yeah, so we did, receive a number of applications for the town accountant position. As a reminder, this is a position that we created because the FERCog ended their accounting services, program, so us and two other communities had to fill that void. We did receive a number of applications. The review committee included myself, Fred, Jennifer Day, the treasurer collector, and Jess, our admin assistant, also stepped in to assist as well. And in the end, we are recommending that James Palmier of Whately be appointed as the town accountant, who is actually here with us today.
Oh, great. Well, James, would you like to say anything? You don't have to say anything.
You don't want to, don't matter.
No, it's lovely to meet you, Joyce, and I'm happy to be here. The experience that I've had with Pete, Fred, and Jess was wonderful from the start, and I'm looking forward to working with the team here at the town, and certainly am excited to start my journey in public service. So.
Oh. Oh, okay, very well. Julie and Fred, do you all have anything you want to ask or add?
No.
No, not for me.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll move that we appoint James Palmier as the new town accountant.
Second.
all right, moved and seconded. Let's go to a roll call vote. This time, Fred first.
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Joyce, yes. James, welcome. Welcome to Whately.
Welcome up.
Thank you.
Super easy.
Okay. And I'm assuming you've not prepared a speech, but that's fine. There'll be time for that later on.
There's good ice cream in Hadley.
Okay. Awesome.
You have one here in Whately too.
Yeah.
Simmers.
Simmers.
I haven't been. It's good.
Yeah, all right.
Just good ice cream.
But I'll be in
All
touch
right.
with paperwork to get things started.
All right, great, excellent. We have an accountant. Yes.
Yay.
All right. Great. Well, then let's move along to new business. I hope James doesn't feel short changed here. On the
No.
time we're giving him on his appointment, but we are very, very happy to have you. For new business, first item is chapter 61 land. We've got request to waive the right of first refusal on a portion of the 19 North Street property. And I'm just pulling up um, the other thing. This is the fair, not the fairgrounds, the campground, is it not?
No,
No.
no, this is.
No.
No, this is a
behind the
different one.
scene. This is
The
up
opposite
the
side
other
of
end
the
of
street.
North Street,
It's the other end of North Street.
behind the big Sanderson
Yeah,
house.
Yeah.
There's no street access.
so
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
notice is that the owners of 19 North Street, which that property is currently in 61A. Want
Yeah.
looking to separate a portion of that property off and add it to an adjacent residential property. It's about under a half an acre of land. That would be added to that existing single family home property so that they will have the required setbacks from their property line. But it means that by segmenting that portion off, that portion would no longer be land subject to the protection anymore because it's now gonna be residential land. So because it's a change of use, it means that the town is being, it triggers the right of refusal. We do have to do it as a public hearing, so tonight is simply to provide the board notice about it, but on the
Oh, okay.
agenda for August 27th. We'll put out a public hearing notice to the property owner, just letting him know that the board will then formally take it up and you'll be able to vote. So tonight's really just a discussion on what that is. And if you have any procedural questions before we go into the hearing next meeting.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I don't need to get in the way of that. But I was curious that the attorney, George Goodrich, would they be related to the Goodriches who live on Chestnut Plain Road?
I did not do an ancestral background.
Damn it. Damn, okay, all right. Well, for next time. No, well, if they actually show up on
Joyce?
Zoom or anything for the hearing, then we'll recognize them if they do.
Yes, I can answer that, though. I think I'm 90% sure that Luke Goodrich is George Goodrich's son.
That's
A lawyer.
that's what I was thinking. I thought he might be an
Yeah.
attorney up in Greenfield.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, that was a little diversion. We're allowed one per meeting, so that's my one diversion. Okay, so this one we don't have to vote, or we're really gonna wait till the hearing to vote, right?
Just go to a public hearing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, then let's move on to item B, the EV chargers. Discussion of the proposed EV charger location at the Memorial Library. And this is kind of continuing from last time. We were trying to decide between down by the road or up closer to the library, and it had to do with there's going to have to be a new panel put in somewhere, right? Is there more information than that at this point?
Yeah, so in the report, I have an image showing what that panel would look like. It's essentially a horizontal. It's a vertical board where the panel and the conduit are attached. That's the service
Oh.
panel that needs to be added with the meter. That would be located next to the building, and then we could add
Yeah.
trucks behind it.
Where is a picture that you're talking about?
On page 2 of my report.
On page 2 of your, oh, okay, hold on.
Can I ask a clarification at the bottom of page 2? The first is at the street front parking, says the sentence.
Mhm.
Although this location would be more visible, it doesn't create a couple of complications. I'm assuming
It
that
does.
it does.
It does.
Because there are complications listed after.
Found it. Okay.
We'll get to that next point. So that's the service panel. The service panel is required just to do the EV chargers. It's not really so much related to where the EV chargers
Yeah.
are located, though we could. It makes more sense to put it right next to the building. It's easier to
Yeah,
hide.
It
Yeah.
looks like it should be hidden.
So if the
Okay.
charger units themselves are either at the building or at the street front, the problem with putting them at the street front, Fred kind of raised it, and I didn't realize that the true complication here is that our parking spaces are directly adjacent to the sidewalk, meaning there's no green grass strip separating the parking space from the sidewalk. Meaning the charger would have to be on
Oh, one of the parking places, if it's gonna be on that side of this,
sidewalk, and there's no way
yeah,
that we would be inhibiting pedestrian access on the sidewalk if we had chargers there, because
yeah,
the cable lines for the charger to run to the vehicle would absolutely block the sidewalk.
right,
Also, if we locate the charger down there, the run of the electrical line and the installation all the way down to that street from the panel is $20,000, and that is not covered by.
yeah.
So we
Okay,
would
well,
that capital cost. Now, if we
yeah,
do
you had me at trip hazard.
If we do put it
$20,000 too.
at the location next to the or to the building, there is no additional cost. It would all be baked into the incentive program that we're doing. So because we're not having to run everything all the way back down to the street,
Mhm.
even the addition of the service panel will not be an added cost to us. So I marked on satellite image with the yellow dot an approximate location for that service panel. And then
Mhm.
the red box marks out the 2 parking spaces. One of them is ADA, the other is a standard space. The ADA space would remain an ADA space because a charger has to be ADA accessible. And it would be accessible to both combustion and EV, so it's not
Was gonna say.
removing it from use only to,
Okay.
it would be open to anybody. It's just ADA requirements do stipulate that if you're gonna be providing charging spaces, one of those spaces needs to be handicap accessible. And that's why we would do the same thing here at the town office, but, so the question
Yeah.
tonight really is what the board feels about the 2 options of the locations. Whichever one you would prefer to move forward with, I then want to bring this to the library trustees to make them aware, make sure they're okay with this. Understand what that means before we finalize our process with the contractors.
I think all things considered, the at the street option isn't an option.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not really an option. I wish it was, right? It would be nice and visible and that'd be cool, but I
There is-
don't know if I'm willing to pay $20,000 for that
On
particular
top of
bit
it,
of cool.
Plus the lawsuits of people tripping
Yeah.
over cables.
you could do it if we moved the sidewalk inland further.
Yeah.
Which means
Yeah.
tearing the sidewalk, reconstructing it, and then you no longer have a straight sidewalk, it does have to jog.
Yeah. Yeah, or
Or-
losing a parking place. You lose a parking place, put it in a parking place, and then you serve the 2 sides, but that's not a great option either. So I think you're the one the yellow dot on the beautiful picture on page 2.
Okay.
On page 3, sorry.
I agree.
Yeah. So do we need an official vote? Oh, roll call vote.
We don't.
Actually,
If you want to.
no, okay. We don't need a vote. If we don't need a vote, that sounds like we've got consensus already.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, great. Moving on to C, a general bylaw. Towns required to adopt municipal equity bylaw as a host community under the Cannabis Control Commission requirements. I remember this coming up, oh, it was more than a year ago, and it was something where it just wasn't clear what we were supposed to do. Sounds like it's a lot more clear now what we're supposed to do.
Well,
So-
and we're out of compliance.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
Essentially, the concept or the requirement here is that any community that is a host community. Must have bylaw, ordinance, rules and regulations, policy and procedure, some type of formal process that ensures social equity when it comes to. Selecting or awarding a host community agreement with a company to then operate a cannabis operation in the community. So the best way to do this is just to do the general bylaw. There's already a model amendment. This really more so comes into play when you have multiple players.
Mm.
And you're trying to not ensure, but you're trying to support the social equity element. And going for businesses that fall within that definition. We don't necessarily have that right now. It's not to say that we wouldn't, but this would mean that by putting the bylaw in, it would just mean that the select board, when going through future host community agreements, if there are competing operations, using the requirements to evaluate and ensure that, social equity is at the forefront of the decision making.
Is this something that could be discussed at a special town meeting, or would it be reserved for a general town meeting?
That's an annual, so that's actually a select board discussion. It can be any, it's just, it doesn't
Okay,
have
I
to
mean,
be
there's, I know
approved by
there's certain
your-
things that we tend,
Yeah, that's your
over.
own, yeah, sorry, that's just the select board's own policy, it's
Right.
not like state law that says we have to wait, so. It would totally be, I mean, that's what we're actually gonna be discussing later in the.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
mentioned this before we got to the.
Yeah, but yes, if the board was open to a general bylaw amendment on a special town meeting warrant, I would recommend that we do it for this fall town meeting, special town.
If we have a special town meeting, assuming we will have one in the fall.
Yeah, yes,
And since we're out of compliance, better
Yeah.
do it sooner than later.
yes.
Okay, well, then maybe part of our homework is to take a kind of a closer read on the proposed, the model bylaw that Pete gave us here. And come back with questions and suggestions. I mean, I really only breezed through it very briefly myself, so I don't feel qualified to say, yes, we adopt this one. But I think the plan would also be to get advice from council on what kinds of things we might want to adapt on that model. Is that right?
Yes, yep,
Okay,
And we provisionally approve what is here, subject to any changes before we close the town meeting agenda. Just so if we don't get back to doing it, at least we have an approval.
so what do you?
If we approve the model language now. And, but still send it to council for any tweaking they may want done. If there's no tweaking, then we're done. Then it's approved and we'll go to town meeting.
yeah.
And otherwise, in the next, in 2 weeks or when we can.
I think
come back
There's.
I think there's time, Fred. I think
Okay.
there's time.
Okay.
I haven't
Not
had a
like
chance to read it real thoroughly.
CCC is about to come after Whately
Okay.
right now, because you haven't voted on it, so.
And well, that wouldn't make a difference.
It's not,
Until-
that's why
until
doing a
it's approved by town
provisional
meeting.
approval right now
It's not-
doesn't really, it's not,
Fine.
gonna- yeah,
Okay.
you're okay. I, in the drafted warrant, I would include the model as is,
Mhm.
and then we'll revise it, but submit it to council at the same time.
That's sort of what I'm saying, is to have it
Yeah.
tentatively approved.
I was just gonna do that for you,
Fine.
right? Just to move it along.
Right. Well, that's what I was thinking, just to keep it
Yeah.
moving along.
Okay,
So I would recommend that we utilize the model bylaw with edits based on select board and town council feedback and bring it to the next town meeting. Is that
that a
we need that motion or?
you don't have to.
We don't
because
have
we-
I,
we-
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a vote.
Fine, then.
We because this is just a discussion item here.
When we
Um,
open the warrant.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because we don't have a warrant to open at this point. Okay. Okay, all right, very good. All right, then maybe we can move on to the next item. The open space and recreation plan. Review, discuss, and vote on an option to extend the action plan by 3 years. And that seems like a reasonable thing to do, but like,
Yeah, so just for some background, the Commonwealth has revised the requirements for community open space and recreation plans. Previously, for years, open space plans only had a shelf life of 7 years. And in order to be eligible for a number of grants, primarily DCR grants, you needed to have an active or an up-to-date open space plan, open space recreation plan. Those requirements have since changed, and now the plans can be good for 10 years. And what the Commonwealth has done is they've stated that any community that currently has an up-to-date and active open space and recreation plan, you can automatically transition it from a 7-year plan to a 10-year plan. All you need to do is modify the action plan element, just the action plan. You can't change anything else in the document. It's just the timing within the action plan, and extend that out 3 additional years, and it automatically extends your plan for 3 more years, meaning it delays our need to go and update it or hire a consultant to update it by 3 years.
Yeah,
The FERCog has already invited us, along with a number of other communities, where they would provide the service to do the update and the submittal if we want to go through that process. So it
oh,
won't
okay,
cost.
So it extends it until, is it 2033?
Yes, because I believe ours was approved in 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, so we just changed that one section.
You just used one chapter, yeah.
Section 9,
Yep.
in that plan, it would presumably space out some of the dates or, yeah, and then, so they would do the work on that and come back to us, and we would presumably have the opportunity to accept or reject it.
Correct,
But
yes.
it doesn't sound like there's any cost to accepting it or rejecting it either, really. I mean, the cost to rejecting it, I guess, would be not being eligible for grants. But I think, yeah, we should go forward with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, does that need to be an actual vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, all right.
I move that the town work with the FERCog to update the action plan portion of the current open space and recreation plan in order to extend its applicability by another 3 years.
Second.
All right. All right, moved and seconded. Let's go to a vote. I can't remember who was first last time. Julie, you go first.
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Joyce, yes. All right, very good. Hey, I'm liking the time. I'm liking the pace. All right, next item might take a little longer. Special town meeting. We want to review, discuss, and vote on scheduling a fall 2025 special town meeting. And then specifically underneath that is a policy of general and zoning bylaw amendment inclusion in special town meeting warrants. Because that is one thing that has come up in many discussions with a couple of different planning board related things. So I was chatting with folks at a boo meeting the other day, and one of the town administrators who was in the meeting said something about you, if you're going to have anything that is appropriating money, you have to make sure your free cash is certified before your fall special town meeting. So I don't know that, I mean, I think the boo is going to want to have an appropriation in a fall town meeting, but we might not be ready all that early. It'd probably be late October or early November before we'd be really ready. However, um, I heard also that Deerfield already has their free cash certified because they got all their stuff in. So maybe it's really good that the accountant is here. If we can get our stuff in as soon as we can, then maybe we can get our free cash certified in time to have appropriation items in the fall special town meeting. That was the one thing I was thinking of here, but I think the main focus was about some other things that we need to get done at a special town meeting.
Yeah, I remember this, our free cash tends to get certified in October.
Last year, it wasn't until the beginning of November.
Yeah,
We were
Yeah.
pretty late before, because we had done it. That's why we ended up having that thing delay until December to hold the special town meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
you bring up a excellent point. Dara is not, she's out on vacation, so she'll be back on Monday. Maybe we postpone scheduling this until the next meeting. That way I can find out from Dara how much work needs to be done in order to close up the books and certify the free cash. I know she's got a good amount of it in place. I just don't wanna commit it, and we need a understanding on what from the time that she has typically submitted, how long it's taken. Is it DOR or DLS? One of those.
One of those, one of those
think
Ds.
DLS, yeah, DLS to go and certify, that submittal.
No matter what, it's likely not to be before mid-October, so it's
Yeah.
got a couple of months.
The main
Right.
this for scheduling this is due to the group health insurance budget increase.
Mm.
That budget increase is going to go into effect October 1st. We don't get billed all of it up front, so it's, our billing will start to increase, but we budgeted 555,000 for the fiscal year. So we'll have enough money in the account to pay bills as the GIT bills us. It's just, we kind of wanna, we don't wanna,
We'll be
Right.
running out, we'll be running out of money in April, May,
Yeah.
June.
yeah. Well, yeah, we'd be running out
And we don't wanna wait till then.
in April, yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere
Yeah.
later in the fiscal year.
So we would definitely wanna, we just don't, we don't have to start appropriated by October 1st, but we also don't wanna kick the can.
No, but that's not bound by that. Even if we use free cash, we don't have to take the free cash now.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah, so I can, if the board wants, I can push this discussion, at least for the scheduling the date until.
Yeah, until we've got a better idea of when the free cash will be certified.
Okay,
okay. All right, sounds like though it's on everybody's radar now.
Yep,
Okay, and then, the general and zoning bylaw amendments, inclusion in special town meeting warrants. I think it's been our practice that we don't put those on special town meeting warrants unless you've got, and the only reason we were considering it is because, if you have a very good reason, something that's rather urgent. And, I think that's some judgment is called for on on whether something is urgent enough. But I don't know what other people think about that. I sort of wouldn't want a policy that ties our hands, but I do think it is better for bylaws to be at the annual town meeting.
I see Judy on, I guess that's likely why she's on. Does Judy have anything to say about this?
Well, I agree with you normally. In this case, I think it's extremely urgent to do something on two bylaws, the BESS battery energy storage zoning bylaw, and also an amendment to the Aquifer Protection District. In the course of working on the BESS, we discovered that the only protection from solar batteries for within the Aquifer Protection District is in what's called Zone 1, which is immediately around the town wells, 400-foot radius around the town wells. And there's no formal protection otherwise, except there's a prohibition about hazardous materials being stored there. But I've seen, I think, 2 solar array applications connected with battery storage connected, and both of them stated blithely that there were no hazardous materials involved. I suppose one could spend a lot of time contesting that. But in any case, that's one major issue. That's a very simple fix. I don't think it would be controversial at all. I think everybody wants to protect our wells. The battery storage is a more complicated issue, but at the moment, we have no zoning protection at all against standalone battery storage systems. That means they could go in any zoning district, including right up against the street. We can't enforce setbacks. We would have a very difficult time making a case to the state about safety and emergency. There's no process to appeal. We don't have enough water to put fires out and things like that. In the zoning itself, there might possibly be in a special permit, but it's much weaker that way. And the state has a tendency to just come around and say, you're unduly restricting. And what we really hope to do is in the battery storage bylaw, which Joyce is familiar with, I know, get required testing by the National Fire Protection Act, Rule 855. And part of that requires proving that there's adequate water to control any fire. We can't do that now. So I don't know, is Brant there?
No, he's not on, it doesn't look like.
Okay.
Yeah. I know the planning board feels a little overwhelmed with that. Is
Well,
my,
they
what
have
I've
adopted a
heard.
process whereby they're going to go through the bylaw that the committee submitted, and as quickly as possible. And then with the objective of getting it to town meeting as quickly as possible, if you guys are willing to allow it at town meeting.
Yeah,
They will then continue to work on doing a lot more research to try and perfect it. But that will take time.
yeah.
So I think they are seeing this as not an ideal measure, but they did agree to take that approach and work on it. I've sent them an annotated version of what the committee did and how we reached the conclusions we have. I don't know if they could make it by early November. I suspect they could by later November. I know the first one, the aquifer protection one, could be ready by October.
Yeah. In some ways, I feel like that is more urgent, but I feel the urgency of both of those. And I should just let you know, I did send a summary of some of the comments we had at our open meeting when we discussed it to Brent to let him know. And that's when I got the feedback from him that they're feeling a little overwhelmed by it. They're feeling the complexity. And I know we tried to keep it simple and basically keep it to the point of, Rule 855, you gotta obey that one, and that, yeah. So
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think everything that's in that is defensible.
Yeah,
I
I
suspect
agree.
it could, the breakpoints we picked for tier 1, tier 2 are consistent with 855.
Yeah.
There are other things that setbacks from wells. There's a state law or regulation that requires those. I think most of it is documentable. The main point of it, I think, the state has an awful lot of power to overrule what we do with siting, but anything to do with health or safety is exempt from the zoning exclusion that the AG has determined applies to batteries. So the point of getting this in there is to make sure we can defend our our health and safety measures and that we've thought about it. Um,
Yep.
I personally think it's vitally important. It's just literally not included on our zoning at all, standalone battery systems. And we used to assume that anything that wasn't there wasn't covered. I mean, wasn't allowed. And the AG says, no, battery storage is exempt from zoning. So it has to be allowed. And I
Judy, I
think,
have a for you. Quick
I'm sorry?
question for you. I
Sure,
have a quick question for you. When you say you've seen a couple of applications where they blithely assured people that there were no toxic chemicals, were those applications to store batteries in Whately, or were they just things that you've seen that were in Massachusetts?
no, this was in Whately.
Okay, so we do have
It wasn't, the
applications.
phrase is not, the phrase is, doesn't say presence of toxic chemicals. It says storage of hazardous materials. And typically there's a standard definition, but they checked off that there was no storage of hazardous materials.
So we actually have companies who want to set these up in Whately. That's the urgency.
Well,
Is part of
Not the
it?
standalone yet. At this point, I think it's in conjunction with a solar project.
yeah, that one was in conjunction with a solar project. We have not had a standalone one yet. They're floating around. There's one active in Montague. There's one that they're talking about in Hadley.
Mhm.
There's one, I think I've forgotten. I can send you a list if you want, but they
Okay.
crop up. Montague has 100 megawatt one being proposed.
Okay,
And the other thing to know, I think the other thing to know is that as soon as the public hearing for a zoning change is advertised, that bylaw change is conditionally applicable. If approved by town meeting and if approved by the Attorney General. So it conditionally would go into effect as soon as the public hearing is advertised.
Yeah.
A conditional only means though that an applicant can still submit a request. And it's at their issue if they were to receive an approval. And then the town says the bylaw goes into effect and they spent the money to go through the process, it's at their own discretion and their own
Their own risk.
laws.
Their own risk.
You can't deny accepting the application, you can't deny going through a zoning board hearing. It's
Okay.
just that their decision could possibly be overturned if
Right.
the bylaw is approved.
And they're on
agrees
notice
with
that it
yeah.
could be over.
okay.
I would think that because it's a matter of public health and safety that we put it into the special town meeting and not wait until next June.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would encourage us to do a little extra advertising, public awareness, education campaign to let people know what's going to be on the special town meeting and that it will affect their health and
Yeah.
well-being. And they should
Somebody
show
could
up.
even write an article for the Scoop, which would be due by September 3rd.
Someone could do
I've
that.
already got two coming, Joyce.
Okay, good. Good. Keep them coming.
All right, Judy.
Yeah. Well, could our policy generally be stated maybe the way Fred did? That if a general or zoning bylaw has a substantial public health and safety aspect, that at the discretion of the select board, we would put those in a special town meeting, but we generally would like to have them be at annual town meeting.
Can we?
I don't know how to phrase that very well, but I mean, do we need a written policy here?
I don't know
Or,
that it was ever written.
well, I don't think we have a written policy, but Pete, is that what you were going for, to have a written policy?
Yeah, so that we don't continue to have these conversations.
Yeah.
I would say that it would be good to set that stipulation.
I honestly don't know that it is. I think we can decide on case by case, because
Case by
there may be some we're not getting flooded with
Yeah,
these requests. And there could be some borderline cases as to whether it is or is not the health
Right.
concern. So I think we've got the time to do these as they come up, rather than setting a
but
policy.
we also, regardless of whether we set a policy,
Right.
can we amend that and add in also in situations when we're out of compliance with state law?
Yeah, essentially
Just
anything,
to- yeah.
anything that creates an urgency.
Yes,
Right,
Uh,
but yeah,
I
but,
think
yeah,
copied down by a written regulation, or even self-imposed, law in that case, when. If we were getting hundreds of them, it'd be good to be able to triage in that way, but we're not getting data with them. So we sit at a meeting like this and we decide on case by case, do we want this on special or annual?
Well, thank you.
all right.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
All right, so it sounds like we have settled item E under new business.
Yep.
And now we're up to the exciting select board liaison updates. Um, I'll let the people in the room go first. Julie, anything?
There was a meeting of the water department, today's Wednesday, yesterday, Tuesday morning. The primary thing is that they had their inspection done by the state. And they were out of compliance on 6 or 7 items. They have a list of them. And they will be working to complete those items and then submit verification of their completion to the state. There is a penalty if they don't do that, so they're working hard on that.
And this is 6 or 7 out of like 100 things they checked, or is this 6 or 7 out of 8 things they checked?
It's probably 6 or 7 out of 50 or 60 things that they checked.
Oh, okay.
One of them is that there is currently no backup generator for the water system,
Oh.
which they've been looking at for a while, and I was encouraging them to try to figure out a way to get money in their budget to do that. That is probably the primary one that had my little red flags
Mm.
going up. The other ones
Yeah.
are more paperwork kinds of things.
Oh, okay,
So. Any other questions?
thanks. Yeah,
Okay.
that answers it.
And let's see, the Whately Giving Garden had our, I think it was our 5th swap this past Saturday. I want to encourage people who have too many vegetables in their gardens and who want to get rid of them to show up at the next one, which is now moved to the transfer station. We get a lot more traffic there, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., August 23rd. If you could do us the favor of letting us know that you're coming with produce, that way we don't try to wrangle some from elsewhere. You can contact Amy LaValle, town clerk at whately.org. Anyway, it's going well, and we have a list of probably 50 to 60 people on our mailing list, all of whom are very excited about both this year and next year, when we're hoping to ramp it up with a community garden. We have a pollinator garden meeting tomorrow, because we are talking about putting it here with the pollinator garden, the community garden. And we will be having several meetings, I believe in September, for the community to give input, ask questions, and generally raise a ruckus. That's it.
Oh, excellent. Fred,
I've got nothing new underneath my list. Got this over the last couple of weeks.
okay.
People on vacation, nothing new happening.
Okay, well, hey, you got us an accountant, so,
Well,
That's,
yeah.
yeah. All
We're
right,
working on it yet. That is covered.
all right. There was a Board of Oversight meeting for the South County Senior Center. Where it looks like we're charging along. We haven't quite got like all the i's and t's dotted and crossed respectively on the extension to the study so that they can study the 112 Amherst Road site and give us a plan and help us figure out if that's going to be a possible new home. But there's been movement on gathering estimates for capital needs. Then there's been some movement on setting up a timeline. We think that we'll have the money and the contract in place by the end of this week or early next week, now that Chris Dunn is back. He's the point person for this at the Deerfield Town Office because the contract was with the town of Deerfield. They said that if that happens, they could probably get back to us by early October. Then we would want to have a lot of community forums in October to let people know the results of the study and put together, just get a blitz of education about what it's going to cost us, what's going to be ongoing costs, what are capital costs, what do we get for it, and is this something that we should appropriate money for at a special town meeting in the fall? That's kind of the plan. So we're thinking we might be ready with a number sometime in early to mid-October, a number that we can actually talk about with people. So that's where things stand with the South County Senior Center Board of Oversight.
Well,
That's it for me. Uh, so town administrator updates.
The 15th annual World Bike for Food, will be taking place next, I believe it is. As in years past, the Whately town offices will serve as a hydration stop, along that, fundraiser, which is being held by the Food Bank of Western Mass. The organizers of the event are gonna be setting up the table and also providing the supplies, the water and the snacks, drinks, and they will also clean up after the event. We will be receiving the special permit application from them in the near future, since they will be going through the community and, but that should be coming up soon. Gonna skip the next item because it's basically a non-item now. And then the fire department renovations, they've been, working on renovating the meeting room. And that is nearing completion, or if not already complete. A lot of the members of the department actually contributed their own time to help finish that project. JP is looking at holding an open house in the fall during Fire Prevention Week, which is October 5th to the 11th, to let residents see the station and equipment as well as meet the firefighters. More details will be coming soon.
I think that might make a nice article for the Scoop. I
I
wonder
think so.
if anybody could give a hint to the fire chief about that. Just saying.
And then the last update, is with regards to the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. You recall last meeting, I had mentioned that, since that time, the Insurance Advisory Committee for the HCGIT met on July 30th to discuss the request to increase rates by 20% effective October 1st. The meeting was extremely well attended, with nearly every member unit present voting in the affirmative to agree to the increase. There was one no vote, but it was a near unanimous vote. The reality is insurance costs have gone up in general. The GIT is self-insured with the plan being managed by Blue Cross. And it's just that we've seen a number of increased claims over the years that have eaten into the reserves and the cost for insurance, as well as the cost for the medications that we are covering, has severely diminished the trust's reserve funds, meaning, which is why the trust is now requesting or imposing a 20% increase on the cost for all the member units. There was a presentation that was given, in the end, that vote did go forward. We'll, as discussed, we'll include this request on that special town meeting, to appropriate the additional 20%. For FY 2026, we appropriated $555,000 towards group insurance coverage. And so this means we are going to need to increase that by 111,000. We do have money in the free cash to be able to use from there rather than having to increase taxes or appropriate in other ways. And there are 73 member units within the trusts. Whately is one of them. The Frontier Regional is also a member unit.
Ooh.
Conway and Deerfield are as well. Another member unit is the FERCog, and the FERCog does have a large employee base. They have, however, confirmed with all the communities that are part of the FERCog that although their insurance costs are going to go up, they are not going to be passing that on to our assessments. So our assessments for FY 26 will not be impacted by their increased health insurance costs. They, however, are trying to work with the communities in order to collect information from both the trust as well as the GIC, which is the Group Insurance Commission, which handles group insurance policies for a majority of the Commonwealth, and then Maya as well, in order to find out what is possible. How can we, if we need to, or if any member community needs to leave the GIT, can we go to the GIC? Could we go to Maya? What are the pros and cons of doing that? Those systems, the GIC has about 7 or 8 different plans. Those plans also had health insurance increases. Maya has had insurance increases. What we'd be looking at is by moving, if we were to move, do they get a better deal on their health insurance because now they have more subscribers? So the FERCog currently is trying to gather a ton of information. Once they get that information, we're going to have a FERCog meeting to kind of go through that, and then I'll be able to share that with the select board so we can decide, do we need to transition out of the trust or not, and what would that look like? The trust is looking at making changes this spring to the plans in order to help ensure that this doesn't happen in the future. But a lot of members are are nervous because of the fact that we essentially found out in June that the trust was about to go insolvent and would have to shutter if we didn't do the increase.
Yeah.
Which means that we all would have lost the insurance coverage.
If I can add one thing, this is going to resonate with South County EMS too. I mean, they get their insurance,
Through Deerfield.
they're through Deerfield, but Deerfield, and we don't have any detail, I just had a note from the chief that there are questions with insurance costs at South County EMS. They're probably going to get billed for additional funds by Deerfield, which will put their.
Which is probably true for the senior center as well,
It could-
because they're employees. of
Except
Deerfield
that
as well.
South County EMS probably has a bigger impact just because.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's only 3 employees at the senior center.
The number of employees.
yeah,
That EMS, that'll be a bigger hit, so they may be coming to us at some point
yes.
for. Increased funding or changing their formula for employee.
Right.
Contribution, there could be something going on there too, there are no details yet.
Yeah. Similarly,
Right.
It's just another area where there will be an impact of this insurance.
we're also part of the solid waste management district for Franklin County,
Yeah.
and they are a member unit as well of the trust. They, however, confirmed they will not be passing on because they also have a smaller employee count.
They're smaller, yeah.
Another way to fund it rather than
Yeah.
pass on to or do added bills to.
Yeah.
But yes, there is a ripple effect because
Yeah.
there are so many members within the trust.
and
Yeah.
subgroups, like
Yeah.
EMS, like senior center, that aren't members but are affected by it. anyway.
Correct, yeah.
Right. And I guess the other one I would, I mean, you mentioned Frontier. Have they given any indication? I mean, the elementary school, those are already town of Whately employees, so they're already counted in the $111,000 thing. But boy, Frontier could be an equal hit to, well, not, maybe not equal to 111, but similar to the elementary school, like what we're paying for those insurance. I mean, roughly.
Darius has scheduled a meeting of the TAs
Yeah.
and the super to discuss what that impact might be. We don't have any information yet if there is gonna be an impact to the school budget or not, but I believe we're supposed to be meeting next month.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm feeling like there's that other shoe there waiting to drop. I guess the other thing I would say is that years ago, something similar happened. The insurance trust did not go insolvent, but there was a lot of people exited because their rates were um, like a little bit higher than others. And one of the things I think we can expect is that if you decide to leave, then there's a certain amount, like there's some time period if you wanted to jump back to something else. And the situation wasn't exactly the same as this, but I remember that being one of the issues that we considered when we decided to stick with it, because looking over the longer term, they had been a better deal for such a long time. We stuck with it. At that time, Sunderland decided to bolt, and I think they're with, oh, they might be with MIAA. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, there were,
But they had decided, and that it was something they considered. It's like, oh yeah, if we join MIAA, the rates could go up there as well, and then we couldn't jump back for there's some certain amount of time. So it's going to be a tricky decision. So I appreciate you putting in, keeping us up to date on this.
that's all of my updates.
Okay, well, any items not anticipated? Okay, seeing none, I would hear a motion.
We just confirm the next meeting before we close.
Is it
Oh,
August?
Are we switching back to Tuesdays or keeping Wednesday? Oh, sorry, the next meeting is August 27th. I mean for September.
Yes, I think
I'm
September,
planning
yeah.
ahead, sorry.
September, we're moving back to 6 from the last meeting
Yes.
that we joined. But are we doing Tuesdays or are we doing Wednesdays?
Tuesdays.
If
The second and last
Yeah.
Tuesday of the month.
oh,
Yeah,
so we're going back to Tuesdays then.
Wednesdays.
No, I apologize. We currently meet on Wednesdays. Let's stay on
Okay.
Wednesdays.
okay, you wanna
If
stay
we
on
can.
Wednesdays? Okay.
Yeah,
No,
I have that other
absolutely.
commitment that's switched to Tuesdays through January,
Okay.
so.
And we'll go
Okay.
back to 6 p.m. starting. at
6 PM on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Got that written down.
So 6 p.m.
Yeah,
Wednesday,
next meeting is August 27th. Thank you.
At
okay,
4.
At 4.
Alrighty, I know, got it, I think.
okay. So I would entertain a motion then.
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Okay, great, moved and seconded. All those in favor, start with Fred,
yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Joyce, aye. Great. I have a wonderful rest of your evening. You've got sunlight. I don't anymore. The sun's going down before 10 p.m. now. So,
Oh,
oh, just barely. Okay, well, take care, everybody, and
Okay.
see you in a few short weeks.
okay.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye-bye.
Are you-